Hey, howdy ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast, episode 289. I love a good 289. I got one sitting in my Mustang out in the garage. This is the official Detroit Lions podcast for Reddit. I am your dashing host, Chris, and with me are my equally or more dashing co-hosts, Tony T.O. Ortiz and Jeff the Riz Risden. How are you guys doing today?
It is a great Friday to talk some football.
It's a nice, cool fall day. I'm looking forward to talking football.
Have you guys hit the cider mills yet?
This weekend.
Okay. We don't have them here, and so please go have a couple dozen donuts on my behalf.
Yeah, we talked about this before. The donuts don't last. They put half a dozen in a bag, or maybe a dozen in a bag. The grease gets on the bag a little bit, and my wife has to drive the car because I'm too busy scarfing down donuts, like Homer Simpson. So there you go.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about today's show. We got a preview about the Lions and the Saints. We got Riz and Tony going to help you with that. We've got the injury report coming to you. We'll do a little bit of historical reminiscing about our previous seasons with the Lions. We'll have game predictions, the Vegas line, and a whole lot more. We got a great show lined up. Are you ready to go, Riz man?
Let's do it.
Let's kick this off and break it down.
All right, a couple of quick announcements first. Check us out and help us out on the old Patreon. Very, very special thanks to Dylan from... Yeah, that's it. You got to overmodulate. Tony, can you give us a little Guam? Can you take part?
I can't do it as good as Riz. That's his thing. Can. I'm going to let him do Guam. Believe me.
All right.
Blow those speakers out.
Yeah. All right, fine. Of course, our very first donor, Mathis. Want to yell out Mitch Z as well. He's been really helping out in the Slack and as a Patreon donor and actually helping with the auction. Brian Burkheiser from I Prevail. Guys, we'll talk about St. Jude a little bit, but I Prevail Band will be calling in for an interview, and they will have some wicked cool prize packs and giveaways for you. Last year, they gave us a guitar to give away as part of the auction. So there's some good stuff coming. Really, really cool stuff. Love the guys in I Prevail. Great band. Love the music. And for some reason, they think we're all right.
They really do. They're great guys. They really are.
Another,
a lot of good music that's right up my alley.
Another snow job. All right. Check them out. All these people hanging out. The Riz, me, everybody. Patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. Get in there. If you donate as little as $1 a month, we always recommend you donate more. But if you donate as little as $1 a month, you will have access to the Slack chat, the most intelligent Lions chat on the internet. It may be the most intelligent chat on the internet because the internet has gone far away from what it used to be. Anyway, it's a great place to talk sports. You can disagree, you can do all that great stuff, but people do it with respect, treat each other respect, and sometimes they just agree to disagree. You get access to that, and in days like these, there's no better place to talk Lions than our Slack. Get in there, patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. Also, give us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/The Detroit Lions Podcast, Instagram, Detroit Lions Podcast, and check us out on Twitter at DET Lions Podcast, DET Lions Podcast, where we found some undercover pictures of T.O. Say it, Riz.
If no bands.
We'll get him in there somehow. We'll get him in there.
I will undermodulate that one.
There you go. Thank you.
Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Detroit Lions Podcast, youtube.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. Got that going on. And we're going to get another channel kicked out here pretty soon for you guys to have clips, kind of the Cliffs Note version of our different shows, give you the salient bits and points, and gives you reference points for the future as well. So right now to youtube.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. Follow that, because the more subscribers we have, or subscribe, the more subscribers we have, the better off our stuff for the old St. Jude thing will be. So please get in there and hit that notification bell too. Rate us iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, iHeart, Pandora, soon on Amazon, wherever you find us. Just give us that 5-star review. And if you don't want to, head on over to the subreddit. Let us know why you don't feel those 5 stars in your heart. Because Tony, anytime he sees a non-5-star review, he calls me in tears and says, Chris, I gave it my all. I gave it my very best, and yet somebody was unhappy. So let us know. We'll make it better. That's what we do, right, too?
That's right. Drives me nuts. Nobody gives us 5 stars.
Oh, my God. I got to get an Emmy for him. Give us a call via Skype, Detroit Lions Podcast. The Radio Emmys, Detroit Lions Podcast. Or call us on the Lions line, 929-33-LIONS, 929-335-4667. Leave us a message and get a chance to hear yourself on the show.
Tighten your chin straps, kids. It's time to review This Week in Reddit.
All right, it's time to talk about all the fun and exciting things going down this week in Reddit. And I got to remind you, don't forget about the post-game show right here after the Lions game. Lots of folks showing up. It's a great show, great time. If we need a therapy session, we are your therapists. Also said as the rapist. Therapists, we are your therapists. We are here to help you. In a win, we're here to celebrate with you and have all the fun and predict all the Super Bowl wins of the future. So join us. It's a great time. We actually talk about all kinds of really good stuff, and folks really, really love that show. Come on in right after the Lions game. We're here with you. Same bat time, same bat channel. All right. Going to talk about the series history with the Saints. You guys, I'm going to need a little bit of your help because it's not as rich a history. There are some big moments. I'll do it history by statistics, and then Tony, I know you have some heartfelt stories about the times covering the Lions and the sidelines, and Riz, I know you have some, I don't know, carotid artery shaking moments.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Thank you for that.
No problem. All right, by the numbers. They first met in 1968 and have played a total of 26 times. Like the Lions do with everybody, they tied their first meeting at 20-20. I don't know. Overall record for the Lions against the Saints is 12-13-1, which is surprising, as good as the Saints have been historically. Not historically, but the last couple 10 years, right, 15 years, as good as they've been. When we were all
young men, the Saints were the worst team in football.
Right. Well, we were, but everyone listening, when they were young men, the Saints were something to behold.
They've been good since about 1988, whenever Jim Mora took over.
Yep. So you think about it, that's a pretty good record for as good as the Saints have been versus where the Lions have kind of coasted for 50 years. The Lions have won 3 out of the last 5 meetups, which in itself is pretty impressive as well. So the Lions have edged the Saints 6-5 over the last 20 years, which again, as good as the team has been, that's pretty surprising for this Lions team. It's a different story than we told with Chicago and Green Bay and Arizona so far, so that's kind of nice. This is interesting, though. The overall point scores, even as the record is, when we lose, we know how to lose big. 512 points scored for the Lions and 582, 70-point differential in 26 games. So That's
a lot of
crazy.
that came in the last two.
Yeah, it sure
did.
The
last two losses.
It sure did. Met once in the playoffs. This is where some of those points came from. Lions lost 28-45. All right, that's by the numbers. Tony, think, dig through the cockles of your heart and think to the most heart-freezing moments of your Lions Saints history. Or is that for Riz?
There are two to come to mind immediately. One I was not on the sideline for, which was 1970, the Tom Dempsey field goal.
Sure.
I think everybody, when you think of Saints Lions, you got to think of the Tom Dempsey field goal. The other, you just mentioned the playoff game. I don't think anybody forgets the Lions had a 14-10 lead at halftime inside the Superdome, which was as loud as I'd ever heard it. I still maintain the Superdome, Quest Field in Seattle, and Arrowhead Stadium are the three loudest stadiums I ever worked in, period. I mean, you could barely hear yourself think. But that stadium was raucous. There was 99% Saints fans. You saw an occasional Lions jersey here and there, but for the most part, it was, if you saw a jersey, it was Saints. And you thought, are they going to escape out of here with a win? And then the Saints in the second half woke up and just pounded the Lions in that second half.
And you saw, I mean, in this last game against Green Bay, you saw how much that crowd meant when the second Aaron Rodgers went to that silent count, blew him off, drew him off sides. It was like, oh, never would have happened, right? It never would have happened in there. Incredible to see how much of a change that is for that team at home. How much of that do you think Riz has taken an effect on their record this year? Their home crowd silence.
I think a little bit of that. They certainly feed off of it, and a lot of teams have mentioned that they're missing the fan, the energy from it. You know, Aaron Rodgers talked about it. I think it's the ability to build momentum. You know, if you're doing okay on the field, it doesn't matter so much. But if you're in a tight game and you make a big play, you expect that roar, that rush from the crowd, and they're just not getting that to keep the energy up. You know, it's up on the players on the sidelines and the few meager fans who might be allowed to be in attendance to keep that up. And it's just not the same. And, you know, we've all played sports enough to know that you thrive off the emotion or you wilt under it. And most of the guys that are in the NFL are there because they thrive under that sort of emotional intensity. And it's just hard to replicate that with no fans there. So it's definitely impacted them at home.
Go ahead,
and Chris, this may be the one game where the home crowd would have been negated. And Jeff, I hope you agree, because New Orleans is so used to that noise, that pounding noise from the Superdome, that even with the noise at Ford Field, that might not have been as big a factor as it might have been, say, for Green Bay or for Chicago or any other team, because the Saints are just so used to that noise. They also kind of feed off the crowd, and I think without a crowd at Ford Field, that might help out the Saints a little bit in this game. Having been
at the Dallas game last year, I think Ford Field can often feel like a home field advantage for a visiting team.
We have unfortunately heard that. That will not happen this time. There is hope that we will get fans at some point in the fairly near future, with Governor Whitmer easing up the restrictions on who can attend outdoor football games specifically. That's been loosened up as of next week. Indoor, you can increase your capacity, but it hasn't been applied to the Lions or other professional sports yet.
They just announced nothing in November. They had some ticket packages sold, and they're giving money back. So no people. It's going to be December before anyone's in there. Yeah. So we can cheer from home. I mean, my neighborhood knows.
We will cheer from home.
It's going to be so weird to watch the Thanksgiving Day game and have no fans in the stands, no guys with turkeys on their heads or anything like that. It's just going to be real strange to not see that in the crowd on Thanksgiving Day.
If we could stream that, I would set up some watch-alongs. Get some fans, get some people to do some big Zoom watch-alongs for folks to have our own fandom or whatever. But it's tough, man. It really is tough not to have that crowd there, and to even plan to come home. Right, for me to fly back into Detroit, I always do at least one game a year. I know Q, one of our listeners, great guy. He has season tickets. He lives in Atlanta and flies in for every single game at home, and he's committed. And he got they returned him his money this year. He's just bummed. He's you got some people who love the city want to come home. So all right, with that, let's see. We can check out the radio broadcasts with Dan Miller and Lomas Brown on Lions Radio Network. Always the premier place to hear the Lions. I mean, for years we've talked about turn down the volume and turn up the radio and get the radio voice along and try to sync it with the TV. It's so much better. Dan calling those plays is like nobody else in football. He really is. And then on Fox in select markets, kickoff is at 1 p.m. I had to say, Tony, talking about Dan and the radio broadcasts, we kind of did that. We just kind of riffed last week, and by the end of the day, Friday, everybody was in.
It didn't take long.
No, it didn't. Despite my presence, it did not take long. So I think it's going to be fun. It really is. It's going to be good to be on the same screen with Dan and with Jim. It's been a long time since all of us have been kind of in that same room together doing something like that. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Yep. So Dan has said he will auction off some custom message greetings as part of the Lions auction. So he will do you a read. That's pretty cool. Now, Tony, we're going to need your help. Dan's not looking right now. He's busy. He said he is busy today. He wasn't going to watch the show, but just so you know, he's going to be a little tighter lipped about some of these stories. Brandy doesn't care. You know Brandy, right? It's all out there. But we're going to pry some of these out of Dan. All right. So get your mind working on how we can kind of poke him into spilling some beans over here. All right.
Well, I got one for you that we're going to get out of Brandstatter, which is Green Bay, little old ladies, bratwurst cart outside of the radio studio. That's all I'm going to say.
This can go so many directions. I love it.
All right. That's got me intrigued.
May not go in the direction you think, but
my interest is piqued. I'll tell you that.
I will tell you that is going to become another audio drop. I'll tell you that much. That will be making the rounds. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the St. Jude broadcast, folks. Let me pop up the video or the graphic here. Sorry to cover you up, Riz. If you have any nose pickings, you got to do this is the time. We are doing our second annual St. Jude charity fundraiser called Christmas for the Kids. All right. 24-hour podcast-a-thon on November 6th. It'll begin at 9 a.m. It'll go through 9 a.m. November 7th. We'll have hourly giveaways to the highest donor each hour. So we'll be using the super chat feature to get that, to collect that. All that money goes directly through to St. Jude. And then we'll have a lot of celebrity call-ins, a lot of, like Tony and Dan and Jim, Brandy, a lot of guys and national level people, local people too. We got a lot of stuff coming together for this. This is a big deal. We're trying to raise cash here, but we're also looking for businesses and those folks to bring things for the auction. Good things that we can auction off over the course from the 9th to the 18th, November 9th to the 18th of December. That charity auction, we're going to rely on that to get some big stuff. We have some huge things. If you're interested in skiing and you like Colorado, we have a ski cabin, like a house in Colorado for a week that's going to be on the auction block. If you like skiing and you like doing it in Colorado, that one's going to be there for you to bid on. And again, all that money goes straight to St. Jude. So that's a pretty sweet deal. We got I got a pair of signed Kenny Galladay jerseys I have to go pick up from the box right now. I got a lot of really, really good stuff. Small, big, medium, the whole thing. Goal is $25,000. So you guys can all help us achieve that. Talk to your business owners. Talk to anybody you can to see if they want to sponsor. We're doing hourly sponsorships. We're doing, like I said, those giveaways. If you could donate any of that, or if they just want to give some money to the cause, we appreciate that as well. St. Jude Charity Fundraiser Podcast-a-thon, 24 hours of us on November 6th. What more could you ask for in your life? Oh my gosh, what are we doing? All right, got to get on.
Nice to be off camera right now.
Got to go to one more thing. We got the December-mometer after the big win in Arizona. Sorry to cover you up again, Riz. You know how it is. We've gone up higher on the clown scale, almost to the near miss. Let's really briefly talk about that. We all three got that wrong on Arizona. And
thank goodness.
The defense really, I mean, it was the team as a whole. Let me just start here. The team as a whole played all three phases of the game well. They weren't perfect, but they played all three phases good enough to win this game. Tio, what stood out for you for that game?
The poise that they showed down the stretch. I mean, the Lions did not show that kind of poise in their first couple of games, but the fact of the matter is they stayed at a pretty even keel throughout the entire game. Didn't get too high, didn't get too low. Didn't ride the roller coaster, which seems to be the word today for the Lions, roller coaster.
Thanks,
but
Mike.
they didn't ride it, and it stayed steady, and they played extremely well at the end of the game, and were able to pull that off against the Cardinals. That's the one thing that impressed me.
Have you ever been to Cedar Point, Tony?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay, just checking. It was presser today.
I love roller coasters. Real roller coasters. Not a big fan of life roller coasters, but real roller coasters.
Yeah.
He's down. All right. Risen, how about you? You ever been in the front seat? You used to work at Cedar Point. You've been there. We know.
I lived at Cedar Point. I lived there for 2 summers. So yes.
Did you really?
I did. I worked there from 1990 to 1992. I lived in the Breakers Rotunda in the beachfront hotel room.
He lived under the mine ride.
A week, but I shared it with about 10,000 spiders. They kept to their side of the room, thankfully.
Nice.
What do you think did it for the Lions last week, Riz? What did you like out of that, and what didn't you like?
That they sort of bagged the whole concept that we're going to try to play man defense against this offense. Yeah. And it did 2 things. It effectively nullified Kyler Murray from taking off and running with guys' backs turned, which was important because we saw last year how effective he was at that. And he did that against San Francisco earlier this year. And that's one of the ways that they beat them. The other thing is that they did mix pressures up a little bit. They still rush straight forward. There's no stunts. There's no twists. There's none of that, asynchronous timing blitzes, anything like that. But they are getting somewhat better at generating the pressure. I thought Trey Flowers had a good game. I thought that the ability to tightly cover in zone rather than being in man and worrying about it, I think was really good for the young cornerbacks, and they thrived in it, and it caused some mistakes, quite frankly, from Kyler Murray. Arizona made a lot more mistakes than they normally do, and that's one of the reasons why the Lions won, but that's what football is all about, taking advantage of the other team's mistakes, and the Lions did a great job of limiting their own and taking advantage of when Arizona did screw up.
Yeah, absolutely. No question about that. We've talked about it twice this week, so I don't think I have anything really special to add. Is there anything negative that you guys looked at that game and said, yeah, but as a result of that Arizona game?
The only thing I saw, it was Big V's first game. He was playing a new position. He did not play it well, and that's a little concerning. I do like that they kept Tyrell Crosby at right tackle, and I also liked Patricia's explanation for why they did it. It made sense. He was right on that. But with what they paid Big V and how good Jonah Jackson has been, and you have another draft pick sitting there that's, maybe nipping at the heels, you have to just wonder how long they're going to give Big V to play through the rust at a new position. Because he was, quite frankly, he was not good in Philadelphia last year. I still don't understand why they paid him, but they did, so we're going to try to make the best of it. That's what we do. It's not off to a good start for him. He had a penalty. He had missed blocks. I hope that a full week of practice and him understanding where he's going to be on the field will help a lot. That's something definitely to watch this week because it was ugly last week.
Yeah. And this is typical Patricia style, though. It was ugly. It didn't work well. Cost us, and it wasn't an egregious holding penalty that he took. I would say that it was a little bit ticky-tacky-ish.
Yeah, that was. But that call doesn't happen in Detroit, but it happens in Green Bay. It certainly happened.
Yeah. So I can't really hold that against him too much. But in true Patricia fashion, the guy didn't play great, and it's like, yeah, we're doubling down on this because this is what we did. The right side of the line played okay when he wasn't there. Why not let him heal up and just come back to his natural position? That's where my head's at, and let him compete for that. I don't think that this is a grand move, and I think Tony is shaking his head like, yeah, Chris, you said it.
Yeah, he did. And look, I like Tyrell Crosby the way he's played at right tackle so far. But again, you invested all that money in Big V. He's got to at some point move over to right tackle. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that makes it a disappointment. To me, 2 things stood out. They couldn't score in the red zone again. They had trouble punching in touchdowns, settling for field goals. That was an issue. And I didn't like the fact that DeAndre Swift wasn't really a big part of that game plan. I wanted to see him play more, and he didn't. And it makes me wonder, and Jeff, you talked about this in an article today, did they I don't want to say they wasted a pick, but it makes you kind of wonder with all the running backs that are out there, like you mentioned, Jeff, was this a draft pick that could have gone elsewhere that could have helped out the Lions somewhere else on the field?
Yeah, and that's my point, and it's up at Lions Wire. Please check it out. It's about them cutting Ty Johnson, but it morphed into the whole running back roulette, basically, that Bob Quinn plays. They signed Adrian Peterson, a future Hall of Famer, right before the season started. They could have signed LaShawn McCoy. They could have signed Carlos Hyde. They could have signed any number of people. who are viable starting NFL running backs, but they didn't. But they did, and they also doubled down in the draft. They've cut 2 draft picks from running backs from the last 2 years. They were ostensibly supposed to be competing with one another, Ty Johnson and Jason Huntley. Now they're both gone. I suspect that Johnson will be back on our practice squad. I didn't see that he got claimed, although it just turned 4 o'clock, so I haven't checked the wire yet. Jason Huntley has played 1 play in Philadelphia and gained 1 yard in garbage time. The misallocation of resources with running backs really bothers me. The fact that last year he got Bo Scarborough from the middle of nowhere. Now he was, granted, it came after Wes Hills and Paul Perkins and who was the other one? There's one other one that was in there that I'm forgetting. But they found, and he was fine.
Mm-hmm.
He's a quality NFL running back. He just has durability issues. Same thing with Kerryon Johnson. You add 1 more to that and you're fine, but you're doing both draft and free agency. Second round of the draft is where you got to get people that can play. Maybe not right away. And again, this isn't an indictment of Swift at all, although he is not doing much. But you could have gotten, our defensive line has no depth. Our secondary is struggling with depth. We have no wide receivers after this year except Quintez Cephas. It would have been nice to have another body there. Another tight end would have been better. Although, God bless Jesse James for catching a touchdown pass and burning Isaiah Simmons in coverage. That made me smile very much. I was very happy about that. But there's so many holes on the rest of the roster, and he's focused on drafting running backs all the time. And everybody who follows any analytics at all will tell you that's a rotten idea. And the other thing, he's good at finding the guys off the street for running backs.
Right.
Trust in yourself. Trust in your plan. Don't double down on. Again, to go back to the double down system, they don't need to do it, and it's frustrating. And you know, a lot of people have misconstrued it as me taking a shot at Swift. That's not what it is. I will admit, I was not a big fan of his. Chris, we were on the air when he was picked. I was certainly not happy.
We were in different positions on that. It was unexpected. Yeah. It was absolutely unexpected, but I expected more out of him. I wonder really quickly, and this is just by reading him on the video that we've seen on TV and so on. He really, really takes it to heart when there's a mistake. You can see it in his eyes. After he got hit in the back with that pass, right? His face. And look, I know Detroit, we break goaltenders, we break quarterbacks, we break people all the time. We're not good to folks, right? I wonder if there's a little bit of a mental thing for Swift, not because he's not good, not because anybody's gotten his head yet, but because he didn't get those OTAs, he didn't get, and it's a confidence thing, right? It's a big leap to make it from college to the NFL, and you think generally with a running back, you just hand them the rock, a point, and grunt, and they go, right? I mean, and off they go, and they do their thing. But there's a lot more to it these days. I wonder how much of this is in his head and trying to really feel comfortable in the role of a NFL pro running back.
And Jeff, this is where a guy like Adrian Peterson comes in, because he can pull DeAndre Swift aside and tell him, look, this is what you need to do. Keep your head up. He even said that when he talked to the media on Thursday. He told him, keep your head up. Don't let this bother you. Just keep on staying in the book, because eventually the Lions are going to need you. You're eventually going to have your moment to shine. And as long as you've got a guy like Adrian Peterson in your ear saying that, I think that will help out DeAndre Swift in the long run. I think if they didn't have Peterson, it might be a different story, that this might be an even bigger struggle this year than it's been right now.
Yeah.
Very good point. Totally agree with that, Tony.
And I think the second round pick may wind up being too high a pick for Swift, where we want, based on his production over time, right? It's an early prediction from what we've seen here. But hopefully he becomes a very solid and competent running back. Kerryon's done better than most people give him credit for this year. He's been a spectacular team player. And that's exactly what you want out of a guy like that. I mean, sure, you want big 100-yard rip and runs, but that's not who Kerryon is these days, and hasn't been for a long time. But he's definitely been able to do some amazing blocking. He's at 4.4 yards per carry. So as a teammate, you look at Kerryon and say, this guy's great. He's doing stuff that the typical fan doesn't see or apply credit to for a running back.
His block pickups on blitzes and passing downs was outstanding against Arizona. He was, and Darrell Bevel said this earlier in the week, he was the unsung hero for the Lions. And I think his play against Arizona was sublime, but it was also good, and it helped out the Lions win that game. Also, I think Kerryon Johnson, and Jeff, I hope you agree with this, he saw the writing on the wall. He saw them draft DeAndre Swift. He saw them pick up Adrian Peterson in free agency. I don't think you need to be Sherlock Holmes to put 2 and 2 together and figure out that your job is on the line with these guys in camp now and challenging you for roster time.
Yeah, and don't forget that you got some SEC going on there too. You got Auburn against Georgia, and back to Chris's point, guys who've come out of Georgia tend to be worshipped. That is a different football environment. They are, and it doesn't necessarily apply with Stafford, but I've seen it with Nick Chubb in Cleveland, and I saw it with Sony Michel in New England. The way that they are venerated by the Bulldog fans, and then they get to the NFL and the fans are going to be harsher on them. They're going to be tough.
There's no question.
Your teammates are going to be tougher on you. That's one of the things that I think has when that pass hit Swift, I watched Stafford, and Stafford just did the little, like, come on, dude. Yeah, exactly. And he's in his right to do that too. But if you can't react to that, if he has to learn how to react to that, that's a little bit more of a learning curve for the NFL than it is for some other guys who are, maybe coming from an environment where they got coached very hard and had teammates that were in their faces and had fans that told them that they sucked and left interesting things on their doorsteps between games. They don't get that at Georgia.
You're right. And Jeff, we can go back to the original OGRB, Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
He was a guy who came out with so much fanfare and was treated like royalty and got a rude awakening, not only in the USFL, but also when he got to the NFL.
He did.
Yep. Well, the whole thing of fans telling you suck, I have got that nailed. It's the rest of I think I'm game ready, guys. All right. All right, let's get into it. Let's start. I'm going to hit the injury report in 1 second, but first I got to tell everybody about cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com. If you're looking for CBD help, if you got sore muscles, if you got aches, pains, you got arthritic pain, the whole thing, or you just can't sleep, or you get the workout pains, cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com is where you want to go. It's Diamond CBD is the company we're working with, and they do great stuff. I've told the story before. My mother-in-law, spinal stenosis, had problems, couldn't even stand up. She had to live with us for a couple of months till we got her well again, and she can live on her own, but lots of pain. And it's for someone who grew up in the reefer madness generation to say, I'm ready to try some CBD. That was a big deal, right? That was a really, really big deal. And so I tried it out first. I became the guinea pig for her, and I was like, wow, this really does work. And now, she uses it, we use it, and we recommend folks in the audience who have any of those kind of issues, you definitely take a chance with it or take a look at it. It's great stuff. The ones that we're using now, there's 2 types. It's this chill part. I mean, they have all kinds of different ones. They have the Yum Yum gummies, which work really good. The little gummies are always good to help you figure out how much you should take because it's different for everybody. Some of you folks are partaking in the other kind of associated products and your tolerance is a little bit higher versus some who like my sweet little mother-in-law who don't use it at all has a different dosage, right? So they've got this stuff that we've been trying out now is their Delta 8. It's called Chill. This is the oil. It comes in a little eyedropper like this, and you give it like 1 little quarter eyedropper under your tongue. And doesn't want to focus because it's not my face. Little eyedropper under the tongue, and you're good for hours. Takes control really quick. They also have these chill gummies. These are the ones I told you about. They have the warning label on them, and they're good, but I wouldn't eat a handful because you definitely do. Just take a sit back and chill. They're good stuff. Take care of the pain. Get you some of the best sleep I've had in years. I attribute directly to this stuff. So check it out, cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com. 55% off of that chill, that Delta 8 line. I recommend it if you're looking for, we got a super chat. Sandman is back. Only CBD I'm taking is Can Beat Drew. Woo, baby. From the super chat. That's because you're still young and spry, Sandman. Right. All right, cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com. Get your 55% off and check it out. Let them know the Detroit Lions podcast sent you. All right. Whew.
I saw the lights back there. I thought a disco was about to break.
It does.
Back to the 70s.
Every time Super Chat comes in, and it's Sandman every time. If you haven't seen his slow lights, have you seen Sandman's slow lights, Tony? On the YouTube? All right, so check out it's Sandman Slow Lights. You look it up on YouTube, and his channel will come out. He does it's basically highlight videos of the Lions, but he does it at like a third speed or a quarter speed. And if you want to see offensive line play and really understand what's happening on the offensive and defensive lines. He opened up a whole new world to me, right? Because I was watching, I had a sense of, oh yeah, that happened, this happened, whatever. And then I watched his videos, and it was like, whoa, I had no idea that had actually happened. I didn't even see it. So this really slow, and he just takes the highlights of the and puts it to music at this slow speed, and it's just a spectacular way to rewatch the big plays and what happened and how people got open and everything. Really fantastic work. Sandman is
it gives you an idea of how things happened in the play beyond just watching it at regular speed. You see, the corner opened up his hip like a count too early, and that's why the receiver was able to cross him and things like that. You really get to pick that up when it's slowed down. He does a great job.
All right.
Yep.
Sandman slow lights.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Great stuff. Thank you, Sandman, for that super chat, by the way.
And Sandman got me, along with Chris, a what's that called? A cameo from Hugh Jackson singing Nookie to me. Just made my year.
You give me a minute while you guys talk, and I will have that on the screen again, Riz. I never let something like that go.
One of the highlights of my year was Hugh Jackson mouthing along Limp Bizkit's Nookie. That was something else. Thanks for that, Andy.
Yeah, and it was that was something. Andy found it. I just chipped in. It was spectacular.
That's two worlds I never thought would merge together, but okay. I guess it works.
What happens if the Senior Bowl spills beyond Mobile?
Yes, it does. It poured. It was great. All right, and let's not forget Pat Kerwan at last Senior Bowl too. Riz. He was El Tankerific.
Oh man, I really hope he got a ride home. I love PK, but
yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
I mean, I drink a beer while I'm doing this show, and it's generally about the only time during the week that I drink. Pat does a radio show every day from 3 to 6 on Sirius XM NFL. It is very good, but it might be the only time of the week where he's not. Based on what we've encountered from him. I love PK though. He's been very helpful to me personally, and is a great guy and has a wonderful football mind.
Yeah.
He sees things very differently than a lot of other people do, and that's kind of fun to see. He, by the way, is a big Matt Patricia fan still. Although he did dog him about the first week and not adapting, but he's been fairly supportive over the years of Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn. I haven't listened, honestly, in the last couple of weeks, so I haven't heard recently, but he was much less negative than a lot of the national media have been. Okay. That's worth noting.
For sure. All right, let's get into the injury report. Now, I've got 5 starters who are absent from the media view today.
I'm looking at the Saints side, and I'm sorry, I can't help it.
Yeah. So let me.
Can we go over the Saints one first?
Yeah, well, that's where I was going to go. Let me hit you with who wasn't in media, then let's see who really makes the report, okay? Right. I got Janoris Jenkins with a shoulder. I got Marshawn Lattimore with a hamstring. I got Marcus Davenport with an elbow and toe, and Jared Cook with a groin. Oh, and guard Andrus Peat with an ankle. All unavailable for the media viewing window today. Did they all hit the list?
They have all been ruled out for the game.
Whoa!
That is their starting that's one of their starting outside corners and their starting slot corner. It's a starting defensive end. It's their starting tight end, and it's their starting guard, who's a good one. Yeah. And by the way, Michael Thomas, the best wide receiver in the NFC, not named DeAndre Hopkins, is also out.
Oh,
really?
Yes! Sorry. Oh, darn it. That's tough for him. Hopefully he can come back next week.
Starters out for the Saints.
Wow. That's huge. That's huge. Cook out. Thomas out. I mean, this definitely hurts. This definitely hurts.
That's taxing their depth chart quite a bit. It really is.
And we saw part of that against the Green Bay Packers on Sunday night, that once those injuries started mounting up and once they started getting into their depth, they're not quite as deep as past Saints teams. That might be advantage Lions right there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I just recall, I'll go to Andrus Peat for a second, because I don't think the general fan appreciates how good he is. He got rolled up on at the end of a run play by one of his own guys.
Yeah.
Sort of got tackled into it. That's a massive loss for their interior run game. And I know everybody thinks of Alvin Kamara as the guy. Latavius Murray is a bull inside between the tackles, but he has to have a runway to get going. And if Pete isn't there, that runway got a lot shorter. So that's a huge loss for them.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Is that everybody on the Saints, or do we have more names beyond what we have there?
Nobody else has been ruled out.
Not Drew Brees? Gosh darn it! I sent him that telegram.
Yeah. David Onyemata, who's a pretty good young defensive tackle for them, was at practice today, so he is ready to go.
Okay. All right. There we go. All right. And on the Lions side, what do we have? Are we looking at a relatively healthy week?
Oh, God, that'd be nice.
I haven't heard such a thing.
One player ruled out. Calvin Moore, better known as CJ.
CJ Moore.
CJ Moore. Yep. All right. So just I'm going back to the I'm going back to the injury report, and I think about both starting cornerbacks out, and I think about the Lions against Chicago with both starting cornerbacks out. This does not bode well for their defense. This is definitely a game where. And when we get to the Vegas side, we might want to really start, because the over, I think 54.5 points is the average scored between these teams in all their meetings. And that's actually the over-under right now, too. So it may be time to go with the over.
Let me go on the other side of the ball real fast, guys, because I think losing Jared Cook and losing Michael Thomas for this game, those are two of Drew Brees' favorite weapons. So now suddenly he doesn't have those guys. And let's be honest, and Jeff, I hope you back me up on this, Drew Brees does not look like the same quarterback this year that he's looked like in the last couple of years. He doesn't have the deep throws. He's pretty good on the intermediary throws. But again, the deep throws, which he's been known for, just not there this year. At least we haven't seen the first 3 games.
And they've sort of taken that out of the playbook. He's not even trying to do it anymore. And I honestly have an appreciation of Sean Payton for recognizing that, not asking him to do things that he can't do anymore. They are adapting their offense to what Brees can still do. And he's still really, really good, but he is more limited than he ever has been. And now without those targets, that's nothing but good news for the Lions for this game.
Agreed.
And I got to tell you, we got a great Lions fan on the line in the super chat. Some second strings about to look like Hall of Fame players. There you go, Dan. I love it.
It can happen. I mean,
we made Mike Flynn's career, didn't we?
Matt Flynn.
Sorry, I can't remember him. He was so good.
I've still never seen that game. That's the last Lions game that I've never seen a minute of, and I don't.
Never seen that game?
My family and I went on the Polar Express ride in Dallas that day, so I didn't see it. I heard about the first quarter in the car, and I'm like, you know what? I don't need any more of this. Just left it off.
I wish I was on the Polar Express ride that day, because it was cold in Lambeau Field, and Matt Flynn just lit him up. Hey, listen, if it wasn't for Matt Flynn, Russell Wilson wouldn't be the starter in Seattle.
That's true.
Yeah.
I happen to love Russ, and Russ for MVP, by the way, he's on pace to throw 74 touchdown passes. Wow. Yeah.
All right, I'm getting something here.
Right. So we do have. So there's one notable injury from today for the Lions. Christian Jones was not listed on the injury report on Wednesday and Thursday. He did not practice with a knee injury today. He is listed as questionable for the game. Anytime you get a late week injury like that, when they pop up, it's generally not good news. So he will be, day of game, game time decision. Just based on how quickly it went and the fact that he didn't practice at all, that leads me to believe that you're probably not going to see a lot of Christian Jones unless he absolutely has.
Jeff, how you doing?
Yep, absolutely. All right, I found the Hugh Jackson thing. I'm gonna do this here really quick. I think I got it. Okay, here we go. Let me pop Hugh on here.
Jeff, how you doing, buddy? I heard you've had a very, very tough week. Hey, man.
Can you guys hear him?
Tough weeks don't last. Tough people
Okay,
do.
we got him. Don't worry.
You're going to be okay. It could always be worse than what it is, and things will always get better. You got to believe that.
Here we go.
And in order for things to get better, you got to truly believe that they.
Okay, we'll start over with you here. Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
This is good stuff. All right, Hugh Jackson talking to the Riz.
Jeff, how you doing, buddy? I heard you've had a very, very tough week. Hey, man. Tough weeks don't last, tough people do. You're going to be okay. It could always be worse than what it is, and things will always get better. You got to believe that. And in order for things to get better, you got to truly believe that they will get better, because they will. That's just part of the process in life. We all deal with crap. We all deal with things that we don't want to deal with, but we got to find a way to come out on the other side. Because again, Jeff, at the end of the day, it's just one of those days. and I did it all for the nookie. That's what this thing is all about. It is just one of those days, and if you do it all for the nookie, you're going to always be okay. So, Jeff, chin up, shoulders back, head up, and let's go. Let's go face anything and everything head on. You can do this, and you will do this. Happy 2020, and take care.
It's always worth a play, right?
Oh man, that was it was a rough week. So the context behind that, my brother-in-law passed away of ALS. Chris was actually in the car with me when I got the call, and it was a very rough time for my wife's family. It was her brother, and a couple other things were going on too that were just not good in life. Right. So that was great. So I'm eternally grateful to Chris and Sam, man, for throwing that together, and for you, Jackson, who I've been in Brown's press conferences before. I've asked him questions. I doubt that he knew that it was me, but if he did, I'm sure that would have made him laugh even harder because. Look, he's a wretched head coach, but he's a really good person.
Yep.
I appreciated that from him.
Oh, man, that was good. I got to give a shout out, Malcolm. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for the $10. You rock, Malcolm. Malcolm S. We'll say. I don't want to give them all away.
Malcolm from the closing the bar.
That's
after
right.
the show in 2018?
2018 training camp party. Malcolm, close it down. We're talking about doing an Atlanta game if they open up this year. So. Keep your toenails clipped. Also, Mike Hodges, thank you for the $5 super chat. That's awesome. It's for the nookie. We all do it for the nookie.
Mike's a good man. I got to meet Mike at training camp a few years ago. So
he is. He's a good guy.
Always good to have him in the chat too. It's nice to see.
Miss you too, Malcolm. All right. Let's talk about. We got our injuries out of the way. Let's talk about the matchups. We got to stay focused. I'm sorry, guys. It's my ADD affecting both of you, and
that's okay.
It's not fair.
That's fine.
It's just not fair. I'll give you the minutes in next week, and we'll see if that works. All right, scouting the matchups. Tio, let's let you take it if you don't mind. Run with who do you think the key matchups are this week to watch for the Lions to find success?
To me, it's going to be Adrian Peterson running against that New Orleans Saints defense. If they can get yardage on the ground, if they can control time of possession, big if here, if the Lions are able to be successful and effective on the ground, that will open up the passing game. And as Jeff just mentioned, with Janoris Jenkins, with Marshawn Lattimore both out, they can open up that passing game. It could be a long day for the New Orleans Saints, which is something 4 weeks ago I didn't think I was going to be able to say. Today, I'm thinking there might be an upset on Sunday, but I'll leave it for the predictions.
Ooh, all right.
Wow.
We'll get there. I'll start that out. Riz, where are you at here? What's your key matchups this week?
One of the big things that I'm looking at is Detroit's awful red zone offense against New Orleans' awful red zone defense. They are 30th in the league. They gave up a touchdown on 83% of opposing incursions inside their 20-yard line. That's awful. The Lions are 30th in scoring touchdowns on the offensive side. Something's got to give there. And based on the defensive injuries and the way that the Lions have been playing offense, they're going to get opportunities. Cash those in, and this could be, like Tio said, we could be looking at an upset.
Yeah. I feel like this is Matthew Stafford's breakout week. His preseason's over, and I think he's gonna return to form, and this is when he's gonna do it. And he's gonna do it in a big way. It's gonna bring people a whole lot of joy, but I think we will come back to the mean of what Matthew Stafford is, which I don't think is bad. Don't get me wrong. I think we'll have good Matthew Stafford back, but I just feel like this game is one where he's going to tear out. I said it last week. I didn't expect us to win against Arizona, but we would win one of the next 2 games, so I'm kind of locked in. We'll talk about that then when we get to the outcome predictions. On the matchups, though, I think the defensive line against Drew Brees, how they contain Drew Brees is going to be a key piece. I love what they did with Kyler, how they stayed in their lanes as they broke through and didn't run around like lunatic knuckleheads. They contained him. They forced him to throw the ball from the pocket. Other than his designed run plays, Kyler didn't really go anywhere, and that's exactly what this team needed. We need to get through, make sure that Drew doesn't get to scramble. He's not a big running quarterback, but just get to him and get him moving and unable to just stand there in the pocket and throw the ball. If we can do that, I think that gives us a big edge against this team, because he doesn't have Michael Thomas and Jared Cook as his number 1 and 2 security blankets. Scramble his eggs. All right, let's see. Talking about that keys to the game. All right, let's talk about Vegas. Here's what I got from the Vegas line. You guys tell me if you think I'm wrong or Vegas is. They got the Lions plus 4.5. So they are underdog by 4.5 points. Money line on this, the Lions are plus 185 and the Saints are minus 210 as the favorite. And the over-under is 54.5, which I'm leaning towards the over. Their series average, as I did the history research earlier, 54.5 points average. I just feel like with these two defenses, we're going to see a whole lot of points this week.
I would lean toward the 4.5, taking the 4.5 with the Lions. I just think that this is the type of game, even if the Saints are able to pull it off, it's going to be a close game. So I would take the 4.5 and feel a little bit comfortable with it.
I'm with you, Tony. I like the 4.5. I think that number might actually come down now that the injury report has come out. So if you're going to buy it now. Be a smart shopper. The fact that both teams can score fairly well from pretty much anywhere on the field. And I do think that the Lions are going to get a couple of long touchdowns in this game, and with the way that the Saints defense is banged up, there's opportunities there. And if it comes down to field goals, I like Prater, at least to keep it within a field goal.
Lutz is a good kicker too, though. I mean, if it's just a kickoff, I think we're pretty well matched there.
But hey, we've got the NFC Special Teams Player of the Month in Jack Fox.
What a stud that guy is.
Can you believe how stressed I was this summer about the punting battle? Oh my God, how are we going to replace Sam Martin? I was freaking out about it.
It's the whole thing about, what is it, the 5 rule, is it 5 days, 5 years, or 5 hours, whatever the thing is it still going to matter to you? How do you feel about worrying about the punter on this Lions team back in the summer as if that was the issue?
There are times when I'm prescient, and there's times when I'm an idiot, and I'm certainly an idiot on that. I'll take that L. I will gladly take that L for Jack Fox.
Oh, I'm sorry, Riz. Love you tons, buddy. All right, so there we are with the Vegas line on that. Last week, we all get a case of the wahs. Maybe in our case, we'll go Price is Right. We all stunk that one up. Across the board, we were wrong. Let's do our predictions for this week. T.O., we'll start with you. Lions, Saints, Sunday at 1. What do you got?
Until Riz read that injury report, say that 5 times fast, I might have leaned towards the Saints. But those injuries, I'm going for the upset here, guys. I got the Lions winning 27-24 at Ford Field.
Ooh, I like that. That feels good.
Again, I wouldn't have said that 4 weeks ago at the start of the season. I thought that this was a game where the Saints would come in and just steamroll the Lions. Those injuries, though, make me think twice, and I got to go with the Lions on this one.
That's right. Big thanks to William Myers for the super chat. Thanks for everything, guys. Thank you, William. Really appreciate the support. Okay, Riz, this is you, buddy. This is the pressure's on. Everyone is looking at you. You've got the boat horn or the trombone facing you.
All right. So normally I read my real GM pick here, but like T.O., I have been presented with new information that renders what I wrote on Tuesday a little passé. So I picked at that time the Saints to win 33-28. With their injury situation that they are, I will take them to win 33-31. Give the Lions an extra field goal. I think they'll cover, but I can't predict them to win until I see it. That's just where I'm at.
That's fair. I hate to do this. So the Vegas line, just so everyone knows, that was the line ahead of the injury report. I have a feeling that is going to significantly change after the injury report comes out. So as Riz said, get your money in quick. I look at this team and, first if I think of my heart, I say, I want to be superstitious. I predict them to lose, and it's the one time they won, so I should predict them to lose. That's what my heart's telling me right now, right?
You're wearing the same thing this Sunday that you did last Sunday. You know it. I will be.
I said I said I showered before the podcast. I didn't say I changed. I just my head is spinning with that injury report. It really is. It's going to be a close game, but I feel like the Lions do come out on top. Like I said, this is the week. If Matthew Stafford comes out like I think he will this week, and it's time. His preseason is over. He's got all the right stuff. He comes alive. We'll see a game that breaks that over. I think we'll see two close to 30-point teams. I like your 33-28, but I like it with the Lions. I feel like this is going to be a little bit of a good win, and I look forward to the Lions fans that say, well, it was only because they were injured is the only reason we won on Monday. That'll be great.
You know how different the narrative will be if this team is 2-2 going into the bye and they're one play against Chicago away from being 3-1 versus being one or two plays away and you're 1-3.
Nobody expected to be better.
That's a massive swing.
No one expected to be better than 1-3 coming out of those first 4 games. Maybe we could steal one and be 2-2. If we come out 2-2, I think there's a lot, and I mean a lot of people who jumped the gun after the Chicago game and then just piled in after the Green Bay game and sold this team out, right? That completely.
You mean my mentions aren't going to be filled with Eric Bieniemy for head coach things anymore?
I just think, again, that's why we put the December-mometer together, because it talks about what we were told and what we know. Rarely do you have that kind of vision and understanding about what your team is going to do and how they're going to make a decision about personnel. Just accept it now and watch the story unfold, right? You're in the movie theater, eat some popcorn and watch this. Don't get so uptight. But absolutely, to come out of this 2-2 and looking at the schedule ahead after that, we've got 4 or 5 games that are absolutely all winnable.
Yes.
And this is a whole different ball of wax then.
Which means there are going to be meaningful games played in December if the Lions go into the bye week at 2-2.
Yep, absolutely.
Meaningful game. And by the way, I don't eat popcorn at the theater. Hate popcorn. It's got to be Twizzlers.
Oh, I love that. I'm with you. I'm so with you. I was just trying to go with the general gestalt of the society, but I am a Twizzler man, 110%. I love that, Tony. See, we're brothers.
Yes, we are.
All right, we got that together. We got, I think, all it reads. Don't forget about Fanatics and Amazon. Fanatics.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Amazon.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. If you go to Fanatics, that's all of your sportswear. It doesn't matter the team, college, pro, whatever. It doesn't matter the sport. The top quality official merchandise is there for the taken. Fanatics.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Also, Amazon.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Get over there and do your shopping. You got to get a Halloween costume. Get something, get something super piratey for yourself, and it's always
get Rory for your kids. That's a great costume.
Come on, I was going to sexy time for the wife. I'm trying to help our listeners out here. It's Halloween. That's the best time that you can con them into wearing something.
Sexy Rory.
Yeah.
No. That's what I was going to say something, and I said nope, not going there. No.
I will have the tigress costume.
I will go there.
I will have the tigress costume graphic for next week for you, Riz. Lioness.
I loved Thundercats when I was a kid for a reason.
One day, soon, as we get closer to Halloween, I will tell you the story of a former Lion who talked me into dressing up as Spider-Man.
Oh my God. Are there pictures?
Sadly, yes.
Can you share one or two?
I will see if I can find it. There's a story about the pictures as well.
Because we could put, like, for that show or forever, we could put that Spider-Man picture in the front, the opener that we put with your picture in it. That would be great. But no, we could just share it as you tell the story. It would be great. People would love. They love that kind of stuff, right?
I'll see if I can track the picture down. I've tried to burn it and destroy it, but like Chucky in Child's Play, it keeps coming back.
Yeah. Oh, got a reference to Jimmy Spider-Man Allen going on from Mike Hodges in the chat. Remember that? All right, we got everything. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Appreciate it. We just had fun. Today was a fun show. All right. Remember, we're looking for your involvement. Use the comments in the subreddit to give us your feedback. Don't forget about us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. As little as $1 a month, but you can give it all. Just send the whole bank account over to Patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. We'll get you into the Slack chat, and every penny you have is worth a month in that most intelligent chat on the internet. Check us out on Facebook, Facebook.com/The Detroit Lions Podcast, on the Instagram, Detroit Lions, and on Twitter at DET Lions Podcast. Make sure to follow us at DET Lions Podcast so you can see Tony with... Do it, Riz. Do it.
No pants.
Or maybe Spider-Man suit. We'll see what we got.
Maybe.
We won't tweet it. I promise. It'll be show home.
Thank you.
We'll give you some dignity.
No, Chris. No. That laugh at the end there, Chris.
We will leave you with some dignity. You're stooping enough to join us.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate that.
For sure. Give us a call via Skype. Detroit Lions Podcast, all one word, Detroit Lions Podcast, or call us on the Lions line, 929-33-LIONS. It's 929-335-4667. And be sure to go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Subscribe to the podcast so we can show up in your little ear holes automatically. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to see you next time on the Detroit Lions Podcast. Remember, you're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time, as was said by, I think it was Arthur P. As I think about it, I think it was the Poobanator who signed off with that. So be good to each other. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs, no problems, baby, because we're your Detroit Lions and Reddit connection.